Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going in Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going in Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. Once again, I forgot to do the stupid graphics thing, so we're just sitting here when we dump out of the pre-roll. But that's just for the visual crowd. For the audio crowd, you guys don't know anything.
Yeah,
you guys aren't watching
normal.
this. You're not watching our ugly faces do this shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's Friday night. It's Friday night, so who really cares, Larson?
That's true.
Yeah, man. We're going to
talk
talk
about. As you said
about
earlier, people are out partying it up on a Friday night, huh?
You want me to use the phrase, don't you?
They're
getting their load on. They got their gear, Larson.
At your discretion.
Anyways, so, of course, today we are going to talk about WWE Smackdown on the road to WrestleMania with the big confession of the year. I love in wrestling whenever anybody says, I did it, or it was me, or I did it, sure. Yeah. Can't handle the truth.
I like they didn't do the anything kind of cheesy like with the security footage, and I thought the segment was really well done. That was really good.
You know, man, they just let two performers ready to chew up some scenery out there, and they did a killer job. I thought it was really something special.
It was great.
It felt true and dramatic.
It did. Before we get to that, though, in detail, we got to talk about this. You brought this across my radar a day or two ago, courtesy of a Dave Meltzer deleted tweet. And then he included most of the information in deleted tweet in the newsletter this week.
Stayed in, made the cut.
About some crazy story about how not only did The Rock pitch Cody on screen to turn heel, apparently there was a pitch made behind the scenes for Cody to turn heel as well. Ooh. So, in this week's newsletter, Dave reported on that scenario, saying, quote, "This angle was art imitating life to a degree. Dwayne Johnson legit, when he wasn't going to wrestle and decided to be a part of the Mania build, wanted to be aligned with Rhodes going heel. There are those in the company who believe the only thing that could have hurt the company would have been a Rhodes heel turn at this time."
Yeah.
1,000% correct there. The feeling is that this current crowd is Cody's crowd. There is the argument you don't mess with successful formula. I could say that I thought the idea of Rhodes' turn with Rock was the wrong thing, only that I didn't think it would kill off the boom because right now it's about the idea of WWE being cool and not so much the headliners. It's more of a team thing than in previous booms.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that either.
Keep going.
Rhodes turned down the idea, and they went to Cena as a second choice. This is Dave Meltzer, not Larson talking. I had figured Punk was going to get the slot. We're told it never came down to him as Cena agreed to it subsequently. Matter of a handful of hours later, Fightful Select was able to confirm, and they were clear to say this, only that Cody was pitched and did turn down a heel turn to align with The Rock. Further details provided by Dave in the newsletter. Fightful was not able to confirm, nor a timeline for which the angle would have happened. Additionally, Fightful states that after Cody rejected the pitch, Cena agreed to turn heel and that The Rock was, quote, all in on making the story happen. Fightful also added that the pitch to Cody was, quote, the common course when it comes to pitching huge angles ahead of WrestleMania season.
Seems like normal aspect of the road to WrestleMania. People are throwing ideas out there, and one of them was for Rhodes to turn heel. Look, I think it's probably perfectly normal to think that maybe The Rock was like, hey, you know what? We kind of set this thing up. Let's do something shocking. It's Cena's retirement tour. Let's do this thing where me and Rhodes are cool with each other, like we were at the Netflix thing, drinking, then getting in the truck after drinking and driving. And let's go ahead and maybe roll with that. Could be fun. I mean, look, I don't know if this is a Brian Gewirtz thing, if this is further down the line in Rock's People's thing, or if this is WWE thing. But you got to think all sorts of different ideas are being thrown out left and right. And Cody probably looked at this and said, wait, you expect me to make several $1 million less a year in merch money? I'm sorry, Mania season merch money? Yeah, probably no.
They got the largest superstore merchandise at this year's WrestleMania. Probably about a good 30% of it's going to be stocked with whose merch?
Cody's. And what does WWE want to do specifically at that store more than anything else, Larson?
I have the answer to that question, and that is to separate their fans from their money.
They want to pry those dollar bills out of the hands, out of the sweaty palms of those
Fan has
wrestling
money in hand.
fans.
WWE wants to do this. Whoop, whoop, take it out of their hand and
That's
put it in
right.
their pockets. That's what they want to
Yeah.
do. So, if this had happened, if Cody had turned heel, you thought last year was a mess when The Rock came in to try to have the match with Roman? Oh, wow. This would have been an absolute debacle.
Yeah, nobody would have liked this. It would have been interesting, you know, from the standpoint of you and I having to talk about, not having to, but you know, talking about it and the possibilities. You know, you got to ask yourself, and dude, just like last year, we'll never really get the full story. All we can hope for is a variety of points of view. Like, for example, if Brian Gortz writes another book in 10 years or whatever it's going to be about last year, which actually does sound pretty intriguing. This year, I don't know. Who knows, man? Rock's people came in. Hey, we got some ideas. And then the idea of Cena going heel. You got to think, man, as soon as it was proposed, the idea of Cena going heel, everybody understood, oh, shit, that's kind of the way you want to go.
That should be the option you pursue, not Cody. On a run of a lifetime.
Yeah.
This is like a generational run he's on right now as top baby face in the company. You put him on a show, you sell more tickets.
Yeah.
Simple math, you know, you don't, it would be Austin at WrestleMania 17 all over again. If they turned Cody heel, you know?
Yeah. It'd be
You
pretty
don't
bad.
do that right now.
Yeah. There is always the possibility, as Zero here says in our Twitch chat, clearly WWE feeding a false story, which they've done before. In this sort of situation, though, I don't know that would necessarily be the case because it's not really, I mean, well, in terms of motive, you know, to drum up conversation like this, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to get at motive if that's the case, because just like they did with, you know, generating that internal rundown that was misleading, understanding that it would get out there because Sean has that shit all the time for Elimination Chamber, the match order, and then switching it up or, you know, adhering to what they were going to do anyways. You know, yeah, they feed misinformation. In this particular case, I just wonder what the motive would possibly be. Do you have an idea? If that's the case.
You know, the only motive is to
discredit
news sources that report this stuff. At the same time, WWE utilizes the same news sources to get information out too. So it's not like, I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You know, and sometimes stuff happens backstage, and it feels like in the reporting, maybe it kind of gets, I don't want to say blown out of proportion, but like the magnitude of it.
Oh, no.
Comes off is greater than what it actually was. Now, if it's simply an idea where they're all brainstorming ideas, hey, Rock should come and offer Cody to turn heel, and, well, maybe he does turn heel. All right, ask Cody about it.
I mean,
that could have been the extent of it.
Isn't this just more, you know, I know there's going to be people out there, especially old school people who are like, oh, just enjoy it. We don't need to know about process. That's fine. You don't need to, and I don't need to, but it's interesting. Yeah. Just like when we sit down and watch a cool movie, and it's like, or the other day you watch Severance, and then you get to watch all the actors talk about it afterwards in the extra material, and they offer up
I always
nothing.
Forget to wait.
Dude, you're not missing anything.
Oh, all right.
It's like the actors just horribly out of character, acting as giddy as can be. Like, dude, I don't need to see Seth Melchek act like a normal person. You know, he's such a captivating character.
He is.
And they don't really, honestly, like that article I sent you about how they, like, you know, basically came up with 400 cars.
Yeah.
They don't really do that in the extra stuff.
All
You
right, that's the kind
know.
of stuff I'd find interesting.
Yeah, I know, same.
Is
And it's the
the
kind of stuff that, when it comes to like the writing process and whatnot, in wrestling it'd be really interesting to
I know.
understand, hey, what's going what's going on at the writers table, It's just
Yeah.
the creative process is fascinating in wrestling.
Yeah. Forgotten Media talks about this is also for the newsletter. There was a rumor that the Cena turn would originally have been the finish to the Mania match. I
Like
believe Meltzer
17,
reported
yeah.
that in the newsletter this week too. I mean, that would have been interesting. That would have been a lot more akin to WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
And
Do you
I
really
wouldn't
want to
be
draw
shocked
those?
if
Yeah.
they did the same shot, Cena shaking The Rock's hand, just like Austin did with McMahon.
Let me ask you something, because I know how I feel about it. Is that a parallel that they would want to draw necessarily, especially given that McMahon's kind of persona non grata these
Yeah,
days?
in that respect, probably not. Um, I guess the question would be narratively, even if you don't try to directly reference WrestleMania 17, would have been more impactful, even more surprising to have the turn happen there as opposed to Elimination Chamber. I mean, it's going to be shocking regardless.
Well, okay. Let's say for the sake of conversation that even in when they're initially when they first got past the idea of Cena going heel,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
and it was broached, it should happen at WrestleMania. Doesn't that say to you 1,000% that he'd be winning that title at
Oh
WrestleMania?
yeah, absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
wonder if that decision would kind of be set for that to have even been proposed.
Oh, maybe. I
You
mean,
know?
Cena's advertised for the Saturday Night Main Event, May
Yeah.
24th, I think, in
He is.
Tampa, when they have
Yeah.
their whole weekend of events in Tampa. So again, I don't know if that's something that you see that and you're like, oh, all right, maybe he's showing up as champion.
I mean, dude, he's got 36 more dates on the thing. It stands to I'm sorry, 33 more dates.
Hmm.
It stands to even if it's every premium live event, and for the big ones, 3 Raws or SmackDowns, then the following Raw or SmackDown. That's basically, because I did that shit on WrestleJuice.
Hmm.
That's basically the rest of the year. That's
Yeah,
2025. I mean,
yeah.
that's 33 dates right there. So, and I just don't know, dude. I don't know what you do if he doesn't get the title. Like, he's turned heel. He goes to WrestleMania. Let's say he doesn't get the title.
Hmm.
I guess he's still heel. He's gonna be doing all those shows if he sticks to those dates.
Hmm.
Or does he spend the rest of the year becoming a face? Like, I don't know what the story is at that point. It seems like a run as champion, maybe till SummerSlam, just makes a ton of sense.
I could see them thinking,
Oh, one last point real quick. Also, because WWE is kind of face heavy right now.
yeah.
Like, it's not loaded to the gills with heel. There's a ton of faces for a bad guy to face off with.
Um, the story beat again. What follows, don't know, but the story beat of having these preceding WrestleMania with these next 6 weeks, as much as they can, obviously, was Cena just being a real shithead. I don't know how much he's going to be around. I don't
Well,
know.
he's definitely advertised for 3 dates. It's the European swing. So next week, God, what are they? Raws? They're Raws. So I think it's like the 17th, and then the 2 after that. It's like the 17th, 24th, and 31st. He's
Okay.
advertised for
All right.
those.
All right.
And that leaves 3 weeks before Mania. You would think he might be either on the go home or the one before the go
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
I
You
forget
think
how
so?
loaded the go home was last year, or if they just did a bunch
I
of
don't
video
recall.
packages. I
I don't
forget.
recall. I feel like it's probably a lot of video packages. Um, he's being a real shithead, just really healing it up
Yeah.
to the point where it seems like, oh, of course he's got to win. For us, from the fan's perspective,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah.
goes in there and he loses.
Uh huh.
That moment would be really fascinating to see him do the performance of "I sold my soul and got nothing back."
It would be interesting. Yeah, and again, it's sort of how could they execute the follow through? And maybe they got a plan. I'm sure they
Yeah,
got
yeah, I'd
something
hope
in
so.
mind.
I'd hope so. They wouldn't go into this and be like, all right, you're a turned heel. What's next? No.
Yeah. Um, so, anyways, I have a creeper in here right now, so it's probably a good time. Hold on a second. Yes, my love, I'm in the middle of a stream. It's not even your iPad. Okay. Anyways, it's supposed to be like door closed, don't come in. But evidently it's door closed, everybody come in. I'm about to drop my kid with a BFT, Larson. But before I do that, let's go ahead and pay some bills.
Let's do it.
Let me bring the thing up here real quick. Here we go. I think this is our first one. Yeah, it is. This episode of Going in Raw. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Larson?
Yes, Steve?
You and I are very fortunate to have strong support systems in our lives, whether it's friends, family, or each other. We both have people we can go to for advice, guidance, and encouragement.
Yes, thankfully we do have strong support systems, and therapy can also be a source of support for any area in your life. For example, back in my mid-20s, I was dealing with severe anxiety and needed the guidance of a therapist to help me learn the coping skills I needed to better manage my anxiety so I could get my life back on track. Back in the early 2000s, I was living in Los Angeles. Going to therapy involved getting in the car and having to deal with Los Angeles traffic, just hoping I'd make it to my appointment on time. But BetterHelp is completely online, making therapy convenient and affordable. With BetterHelp, you have access to a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. And you can easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost.
So build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. And let's get a word from our sponsor, Hims. Listen, guys, I get it. Losing your hair, it's a bummer. It's no fun. As you can probably see, it's getting pretty thin up here for me as well. But I'm here to tell you that just because you may have lost your hair, that doesn't mean you can't find it again. Hims makes treating hair loss simple and convenient with doctor-trusted options that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months.
And it's 100% online, too, which means no awkward doctor's visits. Instead, you can get access to a wide range of hair loss treatment options from the comfort of your couch. To get started, all you got to do is answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is shipped directly to you for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care.
So start your free online visit today at hims.com/goinginraw. That's HIMS.com/goinginraw for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/goinginraw.
Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, Tempo. Steve, I know you've been there. I've been there. I think a lot of the friendos out there have been in this situation where time is tight, you're in a hurry. Fast food seems like your only option at mealtime. However, I got a question to pose to you.
Okay.
When I say the words fast food, what pops in your head?
Well, I used to think that fast food was just like a lump of unhealthy, thought-out, greasy meat in patty form, or like that pink goo that they had that one time in that one picture that went viral. But my idea of fast food has changed with Tempo. Tempo offers protein-packed fuel that saves you time without compromising your health goals.
Tempo is a weekly delivery service that provides you with chef-crafted, single-serving meals prepared to cook in just 3 minutes and delivered fresh right to your door.
Tempo's meals take all that guesswork out of eating well, and they've got new recipes each week, like sweet chili meatballs and mozzarella marinara chicken. Marinara chicken. Why am I having a hard time saying that? It's all made with real nutrient-rich ingredients, which makes it easy to keep up with your healthy lifestyle.
For a limited time, Tempo is offering Going in Raw listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw. That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. tempomeals.com/raw. Rules and restrictions may apply.
EW here in Twitch chat says I got to have one of them red lights outside my door like an old school recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it does kind of like I got the purple light over there that sort of shines that way.
Oh,
and
so
like
under the
it
door,
kind
you
of
can see
goes
it?
under the door. My child doesn't care. It's just, I mean, just probably lock it, but I didn't think I had to. One BFT.
Wow.
That'll do the trick. Oh, man. Anyways, let's dive into it. We're going to talk about what a BFT got LA night tonight in a little bit. But first, let's talk about this because it's been on everybody's minds going back months and months and months. Who attacked Jade Cargill? All sorts of suspects out there. And then we found out at Elimination Chamber, at least who Jade Cargill thought it was, and that was Naomi. Well,
Turns
tonight,
out Jade was right. Yeah.
we found out Jade was right. So Bianca comes to the ring. She says, I should feel on top of the world right now after winning the chamber and focused on WrestleMania, but it's really hard to when two of your friends are fighting. I formed a bond with them. Jade and I elevated the division, and Naomi stepped in so the hard work wouldn't go to waste. We were close before, but once we formed a tag team, she became my best friend, my Larson. And do not believe Naomi would do that. Now, I'm being accused, so I need answers. Naomi and Jade aren't talking to me, so Naomi, I know you're back there. I want some answers right now. So Naomi comes out. She's got a neck brace, but noticeably she's all clad in black, the typical attire of a heel. So she says, Naomi, what the hell's going on? Larson, in this case, you're going to portray the role of Naomi.
I'll do my best. She says, BB, this is not what it looks like. Lock in with me. I'm going to ask you. When Jade couldn't compete, who stepped up and made sure you didn't have to relinquish those titles? So deflection immediately from Naomi.
Did you attack Jade?
This outside noise is just distraction from what we need to be focused on, which is get our titles back from Liv and Raquel, and you need to focus on WrestleMania.
No. You're talking about everything else but Jade. Talk about Jade.
Jade. You want to know how I feel? All right. I never said this before because I didn't want to be messy, but the truth is, I see her piggybacking off your success the entire time. It's my truth, and I was forced to watch Jade feed off your hard work and excellence while I was pushed to the side to fight for myself. I let y'all have your flowers. I was proud of you, but deep down, that's how I feel. I don't give a damn about Jade because she didn't give a damn about Bianca.
And then Bianca's like, stop. And then they start talking over each other, and Bianca says, it's very simple. It's a yes or it's a no. Tell me right now or I'll walk out and you'll never hear from me again.
So Naomi really milks the moment. Mm-hmm. She's crying. There's tears coming down her face.
Oh, there's legit tears coming down her face. This was fucking awesome.
It was so good. And so she really milks the moment and kind of, walks around a little bit, looks around the crowd, and then she says, I did it. I did it for you, for us.
And Bianca freaks out. She says, you want to know why it hurt so bad? I loved you so much. This, me, and you, we're done.
And so Naomi says, because of her? And then Naomi starts talking about how she should have pushed Jade further and earlier.
And further. And Bianca's walking out at this point. She's walking up the ramp as Naomi screams and calls Bianca
an ungrateful bitch.
And the crowd goes, oh!
Yeah, Bianca puts on the brakes then.
She stops, record scratch, turns around. And as she turns around, the camera sees her. And in the background, there's the Tron. We see an SUV pull up. And Jade Cargill gets out of the car and heads out to the arena.
She has this jumpsuit, a white jumpsuit with red splotches all over it.
Splatter on it, yeah. Look like blood.
Yes.
And so she, once she gets to the Bianca spot at that point, Bianca just very, very sadly looks at her, points her in the direction of the ring, gives her kind of her blessing. Go ahead and do what you got to do. You got to get yours now. So Jade gets to the ring, charges after Naomi, throws her into the announce table, throws her into the ring post, unrolls her in the ring, hits Jaded. So what's the next step here?
I guess Naomi's going to have to go full heel then.
I feel like that's the case.
Yeah.
You can't stop here. You've already turned this corner, and now you gotta. I guess the point for Naomi is Jade was sapping off of your success. And now I got to prove my point.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just means I'm going to attack Jade a lot.
Yeah, and then have a match against her at WrestleMania and try to beat her. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, which she won't do.
No, Jade.
But she'll get the upper hand on the go home.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah.
So Cody talks for the first time. Sorry, backtrack a little bit. Fantastic segment. So good. Both Bianca and Naomi did awesome jobs. Really hammering home the emotion at the core of this segment. They were both in tears. Yeah. It seemed genuine, real, visceral.
None of it came off as scripted, even though obviously it is. Mm-hmm. I loved the moment when they were talking over each other and it kind of crescendoed.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really strong. And yeah, I just thought that they both brought their A game. They understand this story can really be a killer. Let me ask you this. I don't know how much Bianca is going to get wrapped up into this.
I kind of feel like, her motioning to Jade, go ahead. Yeah.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of interesting if she did get a bit wrapped up, just so that it adds a little bit more intrigue heading into her Mania match.
Oh, I would think I'd appreciate that for sure too. I don't know. It just kind of felt like it was Bianca saying to Jade,
I'm done with her. You can
this is your situation to handle now.
Yeah. Yeah. It did seem like that. Yeah.
Because I was kind of hoping that Bianca would at least stick around to see what was going to happen. No, she just left.
And I think, yeah, that is a pretty strong story beat in itself. And you're probably right. She's going to head to Raw and deal with the situation there. And Jade and Naomi will probably.
And that's not to say that, that could be her primary objective. And then on occasion, she can get kind of wrapped back up in this again. Because I think it would add an extra layer of intrigue to her Mania match if she was still at least somewhat involved in all this.
Well, they could even do a thing where she's not. It could be a distraction. As it would be. Like they just lost those tag titles, and this is like really fresh. WrestleMania is 6 weeks away. It would be natural for her to be, as a human being, distracted by this.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
And we need a little bit of doubt. Like because she's got the streak going. So now every year it's going to be like, okay, prove to us that she's not going to win this year, know?
Yeah.
And that's going to be an increasingly difficult task for them.
Yeah.
Zyshawn Moore here became a channel member. You can become a channel member as well. Just click join. You get access to all of our question threads, our old bonus episodes, and you also get access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. Of course, this Sunday is Revolution. The predictions form is up right now, so you can get started on that. We will be doing our live watch along of Revolution and then doing the review the next day on Monday. So be sure to join us for any or all of that. Let's talk about Cody Rhodes, who has a big old black eye and a bunch of scarring up here and stuff.
Yeah, he's all bruised up around the eye, forehead area.
Didn't do the whoa.
He did at the end, though.
He was all jacked up then.
Yeah. He fired himself up. So he comes to the ring, grabs the mic. He's all down. Says, so, Philadelphia.
Sad Cody.
City of Champions. What do you want to talk about? Obvious question with obvious answer. The most watched moment in pro wrestling history. Laying on the ground, tasting my blood. And what do I say to a little one, not even 4 years old, when she asked, Papa, what happened to your face? He says, I told Liberty a Cody lie. I told her I ran to a wall. Not entirely untrue. I ran to a wall designed by The Rock, his associate Travis Scott, and by my Mania 41 opponent, John Felix Anthony Cena. So he talks about driving Cena around for 2 years, trying to pick his brain for every bit of knowledge he could. He said he was my hero. One day I'll tell her what happened. A great man who did great things, who was a definition of virtuous, who ran to the ring with the shirt emblazoned with never give up. I'll tell her he gave up.
And he yelled that one. He said, I'll tell her he gave up.
Yep. So he says, I apologize for any language you may have heard. I'm doing everything to maintain my composure. He says, if I know my old friend.
Okay, so I'll just pause real quick. He did talk a while. You don't have to do this verbatim.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to skip through. So he asked why. He says, John, why'd you do it? He says, I'm sure you'll come up with a reason that's bulletproof and justified, but there's no justification for what you did. He says, I'm aware I'm talking to the whole world right now. He tells a story about how his dad was hesitant to wrestle in Philadelphia. He said he put on Road Warrior face paint for one show to make sure the crowd cheered for him. But he said Cody was in a Money in the Bank ladder match in Philadelphia, and the crowd cheered for him. He said, I don't know why, but I appreciate that. I'll never forget it. And he says, speaking of Mania 40, you can watch it back, turn the audio up. My old friend John, celebrating with my family and friends, he pointed the title and said, it gets heavier every day. Well, John, I'm here holding this title, and it's not heavy enough. Here I am holding this, as I've done for 300 and something days. I know you're watching. I know you think your successor had to look like you, talk like you, be like you, live like you. The next doesn't look like the last one. You are convinced you are the last of your kind, but you are not. I'm standing here holding this above my head, holding it like it weighs nothing, just like it will at WrestleMania. John Cena, you obviously want some. Come get some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a fiery promo. People love Cody.
They do, which
really
would have been ridiculous to turn him heel.
They really shouldn't. Even when Cody is like not terribly compelling, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
Half the time probably. The crowd still loves him. Crowd is not turning on him.
No.
I'll believe that one when I see it. And again, I think that, when I listen to them dudes at Post Wrestling, they basically said Cody is the embodiment of WWE creative. They are happy with creative right now, the fans are. And therefore they cheer the babyface.
Yep.
And on top of that, we'll get there later. Where's the Randy Orton? Oh, Randy Orton's last.
No, he's not last. Tag division's last.
Oh, is it? Oh, there it is. There's a tag division.
No, but he comes out and talk about a long promo.
Forever promo. My point is, he brings up John Cena, and they hella boot him. I think the crowd is happy with creative, and they're going to buy into.
They'll buy in 1,000%.
Just would never happen with Punk. they would still cheer the shit out of CM Punk, man. I don't know. They might actually buy into it, but
I think they might buy into it if he does something dastardly enough, like Cena did to Cody.
Yeah, maybe. Let's talk about this really quick, man. How well deserved is this? Lex Luger getting into the WWE Hall of Fame. He's long been one of our favorites. I remember watching live on television when it, was reported by Fightful Select that he had signed with Jim Crockett Productions, and he had that cage match with Bruiser Brody, and Bruiser Brody started shooting on him. He had to freak out and legit leave that cage. That was crazy stuff when I was. It was crazy stuff.
You watched that like 5 years ago for the first time, but yeah, it's cool.
Gosh darn it. Was Sean even born at that point? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it was, because Luger didn't start wrestling till the mid-'80s, I want to say.
He was like, what, 84, 85 when I went to Cross? Yeah, something like that. But yeah, man, what's your favorite Lex Luger moment, dude?
Oh, wow. Gosh, there's so many.
I don't know if you're being silly or not.
No, I'm not being silly. I mean, obviously for him,
half of the great moments are kind of like, I ironically appreciate this.
Yeah. I mean, I would guess his probably standout moment of his career was when he beat Hogan for the title. Yeah, sure, he only had it for a few days, but to get a win over Hulk Hogan and win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
That crowd went crazy.
They did.
That crowd went absolutely nuts for Lex.
Yeah.
There's the time when he mistook Rey Mysterio wearing an LWO shirt for a Wolfpack NWO shirt, even though clearly there were two different things.
Mm-hmm.
There was him being on a bus for a really long time and getting tired of that shit.
Yeah.
There's the tight shirt promos Wayne here brings up.
There is the when he beat Yokozuna by count out, and he was hoisted on the shoulders of the entire babyface locker room like he'd won the title.
I mean, there was legitimately the moment where he body slammed Yokozuna. That was actually really cool.
Yeah.
The narcissist stuff was silly. But no, he was super over. Hey, look, I'm sorry. Anybody that's part of the Wolf Pack, they're okay with me. Greatest faction theme song in history.
Oh, without a doubt.
Stand by that one.
Without a doubt. So
Ladies and
congratulations to the total package.
Speaking of the United States Lex Express, we got ourselves a new United States champion.
Steve, I got a question to ask you.
Go ahead.
In terms of lousy title reigns, where does this Nakamura U.S. title reign rank? This is only his second defense of the title since winning it last year. It's his first match since the Rumble.
Yeah. Did he ever take it to Noah? Weren't there people saying he's going to take it to Noah? That's why they're doing this. I don't think he took it to Noah.
I don't think so either.
No way. This is up there with, I mean, it's probably not as egregious as Dean Ambrose's because I think Ambrose was champion for a lot longer.
He was the champ for like a whole year.
Yeah, and he only defended it a small handful of times.
Yeah.
So it's
but at least he was on TV every week. You know, he was involved in stuff.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah.
I feel like 2/3 of the time Nakamura has been U.S. champ during this reign. He hasn't been around.
Yeah. Oh, E-Dub brings up Disco. Disco wasn't an official member of the Wolfpack.
No.
Yeah, dude. You know, I don't know. I mean, look, Nakamura at this point, he's a depth guy.
Yeah.
And part of being a depth guy is presenting him in a way that they come off like a threat. Like Braun Strowman is. Braun Strowman's like halfway awake. Like he might be stepping out of depth guy territory, to be honest with you. I still think he kind of is. He's going to eventually lose to Jacob Fatu. But
absolutely.
And there's a need for depth. You need good depth guys. And sometimes I think that's putting a title on somebody. A shock win. Oh, my God. A guy who's legit, who, you know, back in NXT. Yeah, and to kind of like Finn Balor, you want more for the guy. And it's not 2018 anymore or 2017.
No, and it's like I'm not expecting that to be 2018. But if you have someone who's a champion on your show,
oh, I agree completely. Yeah, you're right.
You got to have them involved. There's no excuse. Yeah. So Nakamura won the title November 30th episode of Smackdown. He had a match against Andrade, but it wasn't a title match.
Oh, he did have a Noah match.
Yeah, he
AJ
did.
Otani says that. Okay, thank you.
On New Year's Day.
So he did.
But it wasn't for the U.S. title.
Right. Well, I think the idea is that he brings it in. Look at me. I'm a U.S. champion.
So,
which is cool that they let him do that. I mean, I don't know what the point of that is, but that's great.
Yeah. So he had one title defense before tonight against LA Knight on January 10th. He had a title defense against LA Knight on an episode of Raw as a dark match, and then he was in the Rumble. So since winning the U.S. Championship, he had a grand total of 3 televised WWE matches.
Let me ask you something. If we did like a list, like a proper, like mathematically sourced list, what would be the criteria for worst title runs? Number of like average number of defenses per.
I mean, part of it, a lot of it too, has got to be story based as well.
That's a bit more difficult to quantify.
It is a bit more nebulous. It's not hard data. I understand, but you know, if you have the title for, I mean, I guess if you have the title for 4 months, like Nakamura did almost. Have all but one title defense and 3 televised matches. That speaks to the level of your involvement creatively anyways. So,
I suspect, I'm just throwing this out there. I suspect if we came up with some formula that involved number of defenses, length of reign, number of TV appearances, that might actually be fairly accurate because
it could be.
that kind of like, I don't know, man. Name somebody who doesn't have a lot of well, I guess Roman Reigns. Not a lot of title defenses, but
he was on TV a lot.
One of the most intriguing stories, like in wrestling history.
On a regular basis.
Yeah. And he was on TV a lot. Yeah. If you take away all that, which Shinsuke was barely on TV, you have a pretty lousy title reign.
So maybe it's this thing of television appearances, title defenses. Something along the lines of, I don't know, like number of opponents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, where Nakamura wrestled, you know, put the Rumble aside because that's 29 other people. 2 opponents. That's
You could
it.
also maybe toss in there. This is a silly conversation. You could also toss in there number of like number of references to the title by other opponents, by potential opponents.
Hmm.
Because like this whole time there's been kind of like even Carmelo's like fallen out of that. Like he doesn't give a shit about it. Andrade doesn't care about it. LA Knight's literally the only guy.
Yeah.
Like I know they had a tournament or whatever, but he was like the only guy who really cared about it, because he would mention it.
Solo Sikoa legitimately gave up his chance to win this title to make one of his stablemates happy,
Yeah.
or try
Yeah.
to make him happy. That's how little he actually cared about being U.S. champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 So I think there's something to be said about the math on that one. In any event, what was your read on going into this match when you kind of realized it was going to be the main event? Do you think they were going to do the title change here?
Oh yeah, yeah, I did too.
I had a small inkling that instead of a title change, they were going to have Aleister Black show up. I was like, oh, they
He
might
ain't
have
showing
him
up
show
until
up.
after Mania, dude.
Well, you never know. Well, you're probably right, but you never know.
We're this close to Mania. He ain't showing up till after Mania, unless he shows up in NXT.
Oh God, don't do that. Don't manifest that shit, man. Don't do that. Don't. Oh my God, don't do that.
Just saying that.
Stop. Was he gonna fight Ridge Holland?
Yeah,
That'd be horrible.
yeah.
That's exactly what he would do.
Yeah, Ridge Holland is the Dolph of NXT right now.
He is. He really is. So, anyways, LA Knight had a promo before all this earlier in the show. This is after Braun Strowman had dumped Jacob Fatu off a road case onto a table. And he said, let me talk to you. Guess it was all gas, no brakes on Fatu's keister going through that table. Guy who cost me the title, out of the picture. No distractions. Shinsuke, it's you and me. And then he says, one moment, one time in Japanese. He says, one time is all it takes to hit a BFT and reset you to factory settings, which is a great line. He says, then the one moment is standing in the birthplace of the United States, Philadelphia, PA. Once he said the birthplace of the United States, I was like, oh, okay, he's going to win it back.
Yeah.
He says, the one moment we can never relive again, savored, it's here. We're standing in the place of the rebirth of the U.S. title. If you think about it, I dealt with the sneak attacks, the mist. I'll put it to you like this. Old Glory needs better representation. That's what I'm going to give it. I hope the shadows are good to you because I won't be. Then we can all pledge allegiance to the United States champion, LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nakamura gets his own promo as well. Says, I knew you would stubbornly make one final attempt at my championship. There's no better location for the death of your dreams than the birthplace United States. And after the battle's over, I'll continue to be the champion you can never be. Tonight, you'll beg for mercy, and you'll find none. The match was really good. The finish was a lot of fun.
It was
Lil Nate.
the right amount of overbooked. Yeah.
Lil Nate's been taking it lately, hasn't he?
Been a rough week or
stretch.
so for Charles Robinson, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So the finish saw Knight hitting the elbow drop off the top, looking for a BFT. Nakamura blocks it, rolls out of the ring, gets a chair, takes a swing at Knight. LA blocks it. But Nakamura used that distraction to hit a back elbow. So Nakamura grabs the chair, slides it in the ring. Little Nate gets it from him. And so there's a spot where LA Knight almost hits the Little Nate in the corner. Knight turns around. Nakamura tries to mist him. Knight evades. So Little Nate gets the mist. Knight rolls up Nakamura. No ref to count the pin. Nakamura hits Scorpio Rising. That was cool.
That was really cool. And I love that Wade actually referenced Mako. That was cool.
That was cool. Then Nakamura grabs the chair, charges in with it, runs it to a boot. LA Knight hits him with a BFT on the chair, covers and weighs out a ref, so ref has to run down the ring to count 3. So Nakamura was pinned for like 8 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. He was for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So new U.S. champion. No new United States women's champion. Oops, sorry, I just skipped ahead. We're gonna do that right now, Larson, because I just segued to it, and then we'll get back to the.
Well, we have to go to the
stuff.
earlier stuff to kind of set stuff up a little bit. Anyways.
Hell. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
So earlier in the day, Nick Aldis is backstage talking to Tiffany Stratton. Chelsea walks in complaining about having to defend her title in a street fight during the show. So Tiffany says, you have the right to remain silent. You should do that. And so Piper says, are you censoring us? And Tiffany says, yes. And how about I make you shut up tonight in a match? Chelsea says, no, that's not going to happen. Aldis is like, no, I think that's a great idea. So we're going to do that. Match happens. Tiffany wins with the moonsault. after avoiding the Vader bomb. Then after the match, Charlotte attacks Tiffany with a chop block, locks on a figure 8. Officials to come down to break it up. So we get a Charlotte interview. Do we get any rationale for her choosing Tiffany? Absolutely not.
Oh, that ship has sailed, man.
It
The ship
has.
has sailed.
It's going. We just have to enjoy the ride, I suppose.
She likes the blue brand.
I guess so. So Byron asked her about the attack, and Charlotte says ambush. I want her to know I was everywhere she was, but it seems the division's gotten soft. I have to remind people there are levels to this. So BFAB walks up. And Charlotte says, no one compares to me. And BFAB says, we don't want to be compared to you. We want our own legacies. And then Charlotte says, everyone's got to bow down to the queen. Next week, they have a match in Barcelona.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome for BFAB.
It is.
That's really cool. I like that she's being featured a little bit more. And she was featured in the street fight. How did you like Chelsea Green channeling Cactus Jack, Larson?
It was great.
She has her own Cactus Jack shirt. I don't know if it's on the WWE shop or not, but it was her on
that. She had the pant, but instead of Cactus Jack, it said Chelsea on it.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome. It was pretty great. Oh, wow. What is this? WWE shop? It's only $10. Shawn Michaels and Diesel, two dudes with attitudes t-shirt.
That's really? Cool. That's cool.
That's actually really neat, yeah.
That's cool.
This is the weekly moment where I get on WWE Shop.
Yeah, I'll talk about this match while you look.
This match was rad, man.
It was a lot of fun, as mentioned. Chelsea with the Cactus Jack gear, Mia Yim rocking Eagles jersey, Brandon Graham. A lot of fun stuff here. We got a new member of Chelsea Secret Service.
Another Scots lady.
Alba Fire interferes. Yeah. What happened here? So Mia goes up top after she puts Chelsea on a table with an eat defeat. Hits a senton through the table. She gets pulled out of the ring. And then Mia Yim gets taken out with a destroyer by Alba Fire. She puts Mia Yim back in the ring. Chelsea over to get the pin.
They do have the shirt on shop.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. That's cool. Yeah, it was a fun match. They got great chemistry. And now Mia Yim continues her never-ending pursuit because, you know, we know that this wasn't just like an isolated attack because Alba Fire saluted to Chelsea Green.
Yeah,
so it does look like she's part of the cabinet there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's cool. Good for her. I know because Isla Dawn got released, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she needs something to do now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. That's good for her, man. That's good. This, you know, and that's the thing. This is the thing about when last week on NXT or this past week on NXT, when he asked me, hey, does it bother you that the United States Women's Champion is getting pinned here on NXT? No, because like they continue to, she's a chicken shit eel. Like they continue to do cool shit with her and she can get pinned when it's not for the title. Doesn't matter. Like she's so good. The personality just makes up for it all. And the stories make up for it all, you know?
So it definitely seems like we're getting Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest because they fought each other, not in a match. Like to open the show, Drew's walking backstage, and for him, with Priest, it's on site. He comes, lays him out, rams his head into a road case, and says, "What'd you think was going to happen?"
Yeah, man.
And so we get a video package of Drew being eliminated by Priest in the chamber. We get an interview with him. Byron asked him about the attack earlier, and Drew says, unprovoked, do people watch the product? People are so shocked about John Cena, but I told them last week. And would have saved everyone a lot of heartbreak. But Damian Priest slithered in and took me out before I had a chance to win the chamber match. So I put him down, call it well-deserved. So I had nothing to give but violence, and it starts tonight with him, Jim Uso.
Yep, this time he got the win with the Claymore.
Pretty
relatively
quickly, too.
Short match, too.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
It was not very good. Drew McIntyre's not losing another match this year.
Nor should he.
That's what I just said.
No, you said he was not going to.
Yeah, that's a prediction. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm agreeing.
He shouldn't.
Should not.
He shouldn't, and I'm saying he's not going to.
Yeah, I'm saying in no way he should he lose a match. I'm agreeing with you. I'm not trying to contradict you.
Jimmy just came out there and got chomped out, man.
He got wrecked.
It's like, look, man, you got your roll-up win. That's all you're going to get. Jimmy Uso will lose a lot of more matches this year, Larson.
Yeah, probably double digits. So Drew has his arm raised. He's starting to leave, and he's like, no, I want to beat up him, Jim Uso, some more. But as he turns around, Priest lays him out from behind, hits him with a bunch of kicks, and starts yelling at him. I'm gonna kill you every week. It's on sight. Every week, I'm gonna kill you.
You know, that's kind of all this feud needs. If you want to hype this thing up, on site, 2 words.
Yeah,
Makes
that's all
sense.
you need.
That's all you need, just on site. The Gertie Bird here became a channel member, as well as I know I saw one earlier, and his name is Xavion Prince. Thank you very much, Xavion, and the Gertie Bird. Appreciate it. Get access to the predictions challenge.
Indeed. So we got Revolution coming up this weekend. Probably not enough points on the line to get the win if you're new to the predictions challenge, but
yep,
you can put everybody
on site.
No, on notice.
But we're all on. It's all on site with us.
All right.
When they see a predictions challenge form, bang, on site.
That they fill it out, yes.
Right, and then we are put what, Larson?
On notice.
Right, correct. Oh,
all right, God. Randy Orton comes out and talks a lot.
Randy Orton comes out, and he is going to have...
He talks about he didn't have a whole lot of friends in this business. He says John Cena was one of them, and as was Kevin Owens. He says, I respect Kevin Owens, the wrestler, but I have a problem with Kevin Owens, the man. He says Kevin Owens is jealous of Cody, of Sammy. He says Owens may have said that he dropped Cody on his head because he aligned with Roman, but no, KO's jealous. Same with Sammy. KO's jealous of Sammy because Sammy's more popular than he is now. He said he ran out to save Sammy at Chamber. He says, when Kevin dropped me on my head with an illegal pile driver just because I wanted to protect my friend. He says, but what do you have to be jealous about? He's won everything in this business.
True.
He's main evented WrestleMania twice, once against Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Says, enough is never enough. He says, I had spinal fusion a year ago. I was told it was career ending. They told me, your career's over. I wouldn't take no for an answer. I busted my ass, but I said, in this ring, don't let things upset you. Don't take anything for granted or let things piss you off. But Kevin Owens, you've done pissed me off. He talks about how after he RKO'd Owens, he says, normally I'm satisfied with that. He said, something came over me. Started hearing the voices in my head, and they were telling me, punt Kevin Owens.
Yeah, man.
And he says, listen to me when I say this. I'm going to prove in short order that Pat McAfee is only the second greatest punter in WWE.
Can I proffer something, Larson?
Sure.
He probably, instead of all this talking, just go around punting people.
Yeah, but he's a babyface. He can't just go around just wantonly punting people.
Yeah, but it's really cool. Doesn't it make it okay if it's really cool?
I mean, it helps a little bit, but...
Is there a way you can do... Okay.
Oh, you know what's going to happen? Carmelo's going to get punted next week.
Oh, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
So they set up a match.
And he's going to sell it amazingly. You know what he should do? You know what he should do?
What?
You know what I did when I was a little kid? I was like 10 or something, and my parents figured I was old enough to start doing dishes once a week.
Were you punting the dishes?
No, but I was doing something. I was
figure out how punting plays in this, but carry on.
I was doing something kind of akin to that. I was not doing a very good job intentionally.
Wow.
Right, so that they would stop making me do dishes.
Wow.
Put me on something else, right? Cool thing is they didn't put me on anything else. Carmelo should stop selling so damn good unless he knows it's going to be a win for him. So like when Randy Orton, punts him, just sell it like you're any old jabroni. That way they're going to be like, oh man, the selling point for this guy is he sells for everybody so good. Now the selling point, we're just going to have to we'll just have him win matches. And
No, Steve, here's the thing. If he stops selling for anybody, guess what? He's just not going to be on TV.
Nah, he's him. He's already been built up. He was the second draft pick on SmackDown. It's too late. Or at least wait until he really has to increase his stock a little bit. Then he can stop selling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Miz is backstage with Nick Aldis, and he says, we want to have an interview segment with Cody for Mello Don't Miz TV. And Mello's like, I didn't agree to this, but I do want to ask Cody. The final boss comes to you with a chance of a lifetime, and you fumble at the 1 yard line. What are you thinking? I said, I would have done exactly what Cena did. He said, then you got Randy coming off the couch after playing Fortnite. Randy steps in and says, Fortnite, that's for kids. I was playing Elden Ring.
He really seems to like that Elden Ring.
Seems like it. So Aldous tells him that Kevin Owens isn't here. Looks like you want to get back in the ring. So how about you versus Mello next week in Barcelona? Randy says, sounds great. And he's like, hey, kid, you're at the 1 yard line. Don't fumble the bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mello's going to get punted next week. That's going to be a bummer.
Yeah, that's going to be a bummer. Oh, wow. SBO here says that would just get him the Austin Aries treatment. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Yeah, we wouldn't be seeing Mello on TV if he did that.
We had Braun Strowman versus Solo Sikoa, which really was just sort of set up for
It was prelude to
Jacob Fatu and Braun
Yeah.
Strowman, which is what they seem to be more interested in. So the match ends up getting wonked because Solo gets hit with a power slam. So Braun's about to pin. Tama Tonga breaks it up. And the match was fun enough before then. They did all the big Braun spots and all that stuff. So Braun attacks Tama on the floor. Jacob Fatu's music hits. Crowd goes crazy because he's awesome. So Fatu slowly stalks towards Strowman. They both get up on opposite sides of the apron. They get into the ring. Brawl begins. Brawl goes crazy. They go into the crowd. They go back. There's a bunch of road cases and stuff. And so Jacob is trying to throw Braun off the road case. Braun gets the upper hand and throws him off through the table. And he's...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gets up. Tag division chaos, Steve.
Well, hold on. Pause real quick. Are we still going to get Jacob versus Solo, or are they just like at Mania?
I don't know, because I don't know. I would be surprised if Jacob versus LA Knight at WrestleMania.
Oh, the U.S. title? Okay.
But then
Yeah,
LA
that
Knight
could
would
be.
only have that for like five or 6 weeks. That's not very much. So
And he'll probably defend it more times than Nakamura between now and
yeah,
then.
those 5 weeks. Yeah.
Boy, so you're just writing Solo off, huh? Because WWE's already done that, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because Forgotten Media in Twitch chat mentions Solo just disappears.
Yeah. Poof.
He's just
Teleports.
gone.
Yeah. So then Nick Aldis busts out the whiteboard so we can wrap our heads around whatever's going on in the tag division. So he has pictures and he draws lines between the teams about who attacked who and did what, and then DIY put Pretty Deadly up to attacking Street Profits and all that. And so he has a solution to all this chaos. One, Street Profits get a tag title shot next week against DIY. Also, there's number one contender match next after the segment. Determine the next number one contender. And based on the fact that Pretty Deadly won this number one contender match, it kind of telegraphs that DIY is winning next week. Or at least retaining the titles next week.